Hello. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about a couple of newer features in Photoshop with the 2018 release. I'm going to open this file right here in Camera Raw, and I'm going to show you a couple of the new features that you can use to basically mask where you have some adjustment. So I'm going to use the gradient filter, and I'm going to zero out everything just so we don't have any kind of temperature variation and stuff here, no dehazing, just getting it back to where it was originally. The color over here, I want to neutralize. Okay, so just in case you need to get back to the neutral settings, that's basically how you do it. The temperature, yeah, there we go. Okay, so we're neutral temperature now. And I can put in zeros here. That was pretty close, but I'll put in zeros. Okay, so I want to change the color of the sky. I can come over here and I can use the gradient tool to run a gradient right down like that. The thing is, when I change the exposure, you see it changes everything there. Let me just see. Okay. I can come in here and I can pick a color. You saw me unpick the color just a minute ago. But you see the effect of that mask over there, but it's affecting this strip here as well as some of the building here. So Photoshop has a new feature called Range Mask, and I can come in here with the color and say I only want it to affect this part of the color. So I undo that and look at what it does. It takes it off of the building. So it's only affecting the color that I click on. So I can come in here with the eyedropper tool and click through those colors. So that is one effect that you can do. You can choose the color that you're going to either darken, lighten, or change the color with. You can do any of these controls with that particular setting. I'm going to make a new gradient on the bottom here. And it's using the other settings because I didn't zero those out. So I'm just going to come in here and neutralize the color by picking the white right here. And I want it this time to use a luminance setting where it's only affecting the lighter pixels and it's not affecting like the darker pixels in here of the legs. So I'm just coming in here and saying, okay, it's affecting from 71% brightness to 100% brightness now, or I can even make that smaller so that it's not going to affect the darker pixels. The smoothness allows you to control a little bit more how it lands, and then I can come up here. I can still change the exposure if I want, so I can deepen the exposure. I can bring the highlights down, and I can even open up the shadows, but those shadows aren't really going to be affected because I've masked them out. I can change the clarity and give it a little bit more oomph. So I've used a color masking technique up here, and I've used a luminosity technique down here where the brightness determines where it's going to be affected. If I wanted to add yet another one in here, I could come in here. And remember, it's going to have the last settings on, so if I zero all these out, come in here and just zero those out, and I'm going to zero everything out. This time, I want to come in with the shadow and open up those shadow areas, and I can still just affect the area that I have the gradient over. So, and it's going to, from the beginning of the gradient, it's like a gradient when you run a gradient in Photoshop. The place where you started, everything is at full force at that point and beyond, and everything is zeroed out at the end point and beyond, and the gradient has a natural fall off. So if I wanted to, I could bring this gradient up and have it affect everything in there. I think I went down instead of up. There we go. So like that. So you've got a whole bunch of controls here. There we go, right like that. So now it's affecting everything in that range. I can bring the shadows down a little bit to make them a little more realistic. And we've darkened the sky, given it a cast of purple. We've brought the lightness of this down by just doing that area. We don't have any effect up here whatsoever. And we've brought out the shadows here using 3 different gradients, one with luminance, one with color, and one without a mask at all. And that is a little bit about how to use a couple of the newer features in Photoshop and even one older one.